Hello everyone, welcome to our Wellness Wednesday here on Planet Wellness. Say hello in the comments if you're watching live, and it's hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. Remember to tag your friends as well and share this video, because today we've got a wonderful, natural, sweet treat for you, literally. So over to you, Ronald.
Yes, we've got a wonderful array of treats for when you make tea or breakfast, and I guess you probably know that we're going to talk about honey, Honey, right? In French it's miel, M-I-E-L, right? And the French have got a very good sense of romance. The husband usually calls the wife, viens ici mon miel, come here my honey. So you can guess that the French are very switched on to having honey as well. Right?
And when I write the shopping list and I put honey, I put in brackets, not you, Ronald.
So now you've got to be very careful though with honey, because unfortunately there's some apiarists, beekeepers, that for the sake of money they'll take the bees to bring the honey into the hives, but then what they will do to multiply the money, they'll add as much as 50 to 60% sugar to the honey.
we got con once when we bought some honey from a shop, and they had that honeycomb in it.
Yes.
So we thought it'll be the real stuff.
Like this.
And
like
then
this,
when we
like
took it home, we took it home, we found that the honey was very runny.
Yes.
And then when we read the short, the small print, it said that it had a lot of syrup in it.
And that particular honey came from Poland. So we looked in the fine print finally, and we saw that they had put a lot of sugar syrup. And where they fool people, they put the honeycomb in the honey with the sugar in it, and you think, oh, it must be natural, it's come straight from the honeycomb. No, the honeycomb was added later, and then they add sugar, white sugar, to make it sweeter and add a lot more volume so they can get more money. So we thought, that's it, we'll never go to that shop again. So the honey we're going to show you now, we're going to say cereal. But why do you take honey? Now, even if you're diabetic, honey is much, much better for you than, say, eating white rice, white bread, white sugar, white sponge cakes, and so on, right? So as long as if you're diabetic, if you take 1 teaspoon per teacup, it's fine. You'll be fine. Just as long as you take 1 teaspoon and then you sip it slowly, it'll be fine. It'll regulate the capacity of the pancreas to break down the sugar. So we have many types of sugar we've tried, and so I'm going to show
honey,
you
mean?
Honey, I mean, yes. So what happened here? This here, just show that. This one is from Wales, and that's organic honey from my chiropractor. He has a beehive, and he brings that into the chiropractic clinic, and I buy that from him. That's about £10. So this is actually Welsh organic honey, right? And then this one, showing this one. This one's called B17. That's also quite a good quality, and because that is from a European bee, and it's sold at the market, and we know the guy that sells it, right? Then we have this one, which is from Lidl. That's called Set Honey. Set Honey, and that's quite good quality. Now this one's not runny; it's more like quite a thick paste, right? So you have to have a hot spoon to dig through that. And then this one is a good one that came from Lidl as well. That is a Greek honey called is a very good brand, Eridanus, and that is the honey from the beekeepers in Greece, and it's also quite strong, right? And then this one
this
here. This
one's come from my friend's uncle's beehive.
Yeah, up in the bush, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's got a very selected amount of eyes, not a lot, and he sells he makes about 60 bottles?
Yeah, 60 bottles.
About 60 bottles a year, that's it. So, and he always calls us, because we'll buy as many as 30 from him. So because he knows we're big buyers, right? So that's an organic honey from London.
These are the cheaper ones
These
you
are
get
the
from
cheaper
hotels.
from the hotels, right?
Hotels, yeah.
And we're not really trustworthy with those ones because there's a very good chance the people that make this honey, you can see it's quite runny,
Yeah.
and it's probably got sugar in it. And the hotel doesn't particularly, unless it's a very good hotel like the Savoy or the Ritz, where they will make sure the honey is really quality honey. A lot of this small honey in the hotels you get is not really good honey. It's got sugar in it. Now this one is from Lidl as well.
Manuka.
That's Manuka. Manuka is pretty unique to New Zealand. Why is that so? Because the Manuka plant is like a bush, only grows in New Zealand, and they found medicinally the Manuka honey is very, very good. So
And
bring
this
back
is
up.
factor 5.
This is factor 5 plus. Now at 5 plus, it's already much better than the ordinary honey. 5 plus, right? And then finally,
This is something we got from our friend.
we've got a friend who's a patient of ours from Malaysia, and this is Manuka honey from New Zealand, and that one, it came in a pack. Show them the pack. It came in a pack, a gift pack, like that. I think that was brought to one of the big shops,
Yes.
big popular shops in London.
Yeah.
And then he came and he was so happy with his service that he gave us this container. It cost a fortune. And there was one bottle of that, and that's a 10 plus. The Manuka honey from Lidl is 5 plus. This one's
a
10 plus.
Yeah.
We've already used the one that he gave us was a duplicate bottle of that, which is a 15 plus. Now you can get 35 plus Manuka, and that's about $300 for that, for the small container. $300, but so you only use a quarter of a teaspoon. It's that expensive, unless you've got plenty of money. Now, this is a little instrument that was invented. So when you want, instead of using a teaspoon or you dip that in the honey and you roll it like that, and then the honey goes into the crevices here, right? And then you take that, put that in your teacup, and you stir it. Okay. Now, why is no? So instead of using white sugar or even brown sugar in your tea or your coffee or whatever,
Or even artificial sweeteners.
Right? So use sucralose, saccharin, and all those. These are artificial sweeteners. Use honey, especially if you get the Manuka Plus. That's one of the best. Or the Welsh organic honey is very good, right? Now, so what happens is that, why is honey so important? Is that if you suffer from hay fever, if you start, say 2 months before the hay fever season starts, if you take about a quarter of a teaspoon every day, right, either in the mouth or either on your breakfast or your tea or coffee, you take that, and for 2 months before the hay fever season starts, before the flowers start to spring with a lot of pollen, that will help you to fight the hay fever, because your body will get used to the pollen in the honey, especially if it's local honey. For local herbs and the local plants and local trees are giving you hay fever, you need to have a local beekeeper, because that's the pollen that's affecting your nose and your eyes, right? So what you do 2 months before, quarter of a teaspoon, build it up, and then when the hay fever season starts, half a teaspoon or teaspoon every day, and that should sail you through the hay fever season without any symptoms whatsoever, which is very powerful, right? Now, what's also important is honey, is 1 teaspoon of honey will give you about 2 hours of energy. So if you're going to have a workout or run or jog, have the honey with about half an hour before you exercise, and that will help you a lot. Now, I try to take porridge, well, organic rolled oats every morning for breakfast, and I put blueberries with it, strawberries with it, blackberries with it, and my favorite addition to it is a good teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of honey in the breakfast, and that gives you 6, with the porridge, with the berries and so on, that gives you 6 to 8 hours of energy. Afterwards, if you eat 2 apples, 8 hours of energy. Fantastic system, right? So the honey also is very, very much better for you than the sucralose, saccharin, artificial sweeteners that you see in many drinks, right? Especially in drinks like you
Diet
get from
stuff.
diet and energy, what are called energy drinks. They're not energy drinks at all. They're just full of sugar. So the honey is not only beneficial for your health, your diabetes, if you've got it, but it is also very, very good for your skin, because the type of honey, let me tell you why it's so important, why it's so good for your skin. I found out to a lot of study that bees have to travel 30,000 miles, in other words, 30,000 miles of bee travel to get 1 kilogram of honey. That's how precious it is. 30,000 miles, the bees in and out, going to all these flowers, and they go to thousands of flowers, all of our apple trees, plum trees, other pollen-rich trees. They'll, from jasmine, they'll pick all these flowers up, even the tomato flowers, right? They'll pick that up, strawberry flowers, and they pollinate, and they play a huge part in the health of our vegetables and our fruits, right? So, and at the moment we have a serious problem with bees being very diminished by about 60 to 70%. In California, they have to bring a truckload of hives from the middle of America every year to come into all the way to California to pollinate their pumpkins and fruit trees and almond trees. California has got a lot of big problems with a very low level of bees. It used to be one of the highest in America, highest bee populations. It's now, because of pesticides, insecticides and so on, about 80% of the bees are gone. So they have to bring this guy makes a fortune. He has all these hives, about 1,000 hives. He brings trucks of hives every summer and every spring so that they can pollinate the pumpkins and the almonds and the fruit trees and the oranges. Because people don't realize just how important a bee is, a pollinating insect. You have other flies that are beneficial because they're called pollinators, but they're not as powerful as the bees. We're very lucky. Where we are, we have the normal bee, which is the side bee, and then you'll have the bumblebee, which is gold and black. And they are so beautiful. They pollinate our thyme. They pollinate. We get about probably 10 to 15 at any time during the day. And because we've got so many plants here, so many flowering plants, they're attracted to our garden. And so they pollinate our strawberries, they pollinate our raspberries, they pollinate our tomatoes. So if you take care of bees, they are a huge factor in the health of the human race, right? We should do everything we can to bring bees back to their natural level. And one of the best ways for that is to plant flowers and plant bushes and trees that are rich in pollen, and then bees will then rejuvenate and repopulate. Now, unfortunately, the government hasn't got a clue about how to fix it. It's up to people like us at the grassroots to start from here and teach other people how important bees are. So let's get your feedback on that, and try the Manuka honey 5+, and then let us know what you think.
Okay, thank you very much, Ronald.
Yeah.
That was a really sweet treat.
Yeah.
And even as Ronald said, even if you're diabetic, honey is okay for you.
Yeah.
At a certain extent.
Yeah.
And talking about diabetes, we're going to be having a diabetes webinar today at 5:30 p.m. UK time.
Yes.
It'll be live streamed on this page and also on Zoom. I'll share the link in the comments below. Please do join us. Invite your friends as well.
Yeah.
Share this video so that they can all benefit.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you later this afternoon, about 3-4 hours time.
Yeah, and if you are very severe diabetic, just a word of warning, if you're very severe diabetic, you could start with a quarter of a teaspoon of honey, just see whether you get a reaction to it, and then just slowly build up, quarter of a teaspoon, 1/3 of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, until you get to a full teaspoon. If you get no reaction and your blood sugar is stable, it could even help, if you do it properly, it could even just stabilize your blood sugar at the right level, which is below 5, okay? So good luck with that, and give us your feedback on what you think of the explanation about all the different honeys.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye-bye.